Welcome back to another edition of the State Fair virtual meetings. Of course, we'd love to be in person at the State Fairgrounds, but unfortunately we cannot. It's volleyball's crack at it now. And first of all, let's welcome Hugh McCutcheon, the head coach of the Golden Gopher Volleyball team. And Coach, it would be great to be on stage with you outside that U of M building on the State Fairgrounds. But instead, here we are on a computer screen, and I guess that's better than nothing. It is good to see your face. How are you?
Yeah, doing all right, Mike. Thanks. And you're right. It would have been good to be there, but, this is our lot in life right now. We'll try and make the most of it.
How are you personally handling everything, knowing that, stuff is now getting pushed back and, you'd be likely gearing up for a match here soon?
Yeah, that's the truth of it. I mean, we just got to, as tried as it sounds, just continue to kind of play to what is. We're in the position where we just have to kind of do what we're told, and we're trying to be good citizens and help out where we can, and we'll just compensate and adjust until we get a season in here.
Yeah, indeed. And let's welcome your two players into our State Fair virtual meeting here. Regan Pittman joins us. She's from the Kansas City area. Regan, good to see you.
Hello.
Yeah, hi there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing okay. We're doing okay. And Stephanie Samedy, hello to you. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
Good. Now, is everybody in their own home states, or are people now back onto campus here? Stephanie, where are you chatting with us today?
Yeah, I'm on campus. We've been practicing and doing all that stuff, so yeah.
So you're staying, you're getting some chemistry built, and then of course I suppose, Regan, that means you're also on campus and have been around the team now since you guys all got back.
Yes, I'm on campus.
All right. Well, we're going to talk volleyball. We'll talk about the disappointment of not being able to play in the fall and looking ahead to the spring, and recap last year and what a great year that was with a good run to the Final Four. But since it is a State Fair virtual meeting, I want to talk a little bit about the State Fair first. And Coach McCutcheon, obviously your family has Minnesota roots. So were you familiar with the Minnesota State Fair before you took this Golden Gopher job and before they told you, hey, you got to take your team out there?
I mean, I'd heard of it, but I had no idea really. And I'd never been before having to come and get on stage, but it's quite a scene. There's no doubt about that.
Are you a coach who likes it? I mean, do you look forward to getting out there and intermingling with fans and stopping at the food stands and maybe, throwing a softball into some sort of a carnival game? Or are you prefer to, let's just not fight the crowds?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy going out, and of course we get to see the fans and hang out, and that's really special. It is. But yeah, it's a lot of people, and I'd prefer to keep it a little more mellow personally, but it's good to be out there, and you get a fried pickle here and a cookie there and a something on a stick, and away you go. It's not all that bad.
Right. You get a few steps in, right? You got to walk a lot, that's for sure. When they told you the first time you got to campus, and obviously there's all kinds of stuff that you have to do, but I would say it was probably relatively early, given the time of year that the fair is, in that first season when you took over, that they said, hey, by the way, you all got to pile on a bus or into a van or somehow make it to the State Fair. What were your thoughts when you were first told that, and how did the fair itself then meet that expectation of what you were thinking it might be like?
I'm trying to think. From my recollection, the first year I got here, because of the way the London Olympics finished, and then we had like a couple of weeks to pack the house up and get out here, I think I actually missed the 2012 iteration. So I had a whole year to get kind of Minnesotan and get ready for it. So it wasn't such a bad transition. It wasn't like right away, all of a sudden I was out there. But I think 2013 was my first one. I think Tori Dixon and maybe it was maybe Ashley Whitman and I went there, and we did a little song and dance, but Tori bought the cookies, and I couldn't believe the cookies. I mean, it's a lot. That's a big bucket. Good for her. Good for us. Yeah, made for a good ride home.
And wonderfully healthy too, right?
It's amazing. They can do all of that without any sugar or fat. It's incredible. Unbelievable.
No doubt. Well, Regan, have you been out to the fair before? And if so, what were your impressions of it?
I've been out to the fair multiple times. I typically will go with my brother. He lives in Mankato, so I'm not too far from here. And it's just really awesome to have an event that I can do with my brother every year and just go and enjoy really good food and enjoy people and watch people ride horses and all that sorts of stuff.
Yeah, there is a lot going on, and it's obviously a great family activity. So if you can spend it with your brother, that's super. Did you have, or do you have now that when you go back, like you get into the gate and you make a mad dash for some food stand or a carnival game or a ride in the midway or a show that you watch or anything like that?
I wouldn't say on the way in, but on the way out, I always stop at Sweet Martha's Cookies.
And and then you just take them to go. You eat them on the way to the car, hop in the car, and away you go.
Me and my brother always get 2 buckets, eat it down to the brim, and then put them in the freezer.
Smart, yeah. Save them for later, no doubt. Stephanie, how about you? What's your state fair experience been like?
Yeah, I actually haven't had the opportunity to go. My teammates always tell me about like different events and like different things that they've experienced, you know, and like all the different types of like deep fried food that they didn't know that they could be deep fried and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, when you're talking about deep fried brownies and Twinkies and Oreos and that kind of stuff, it's bizarre, but they are you know, you can deep fry just about anything and make it taste pretty good. So I guess they've got that going for you. Well, maybe you know, who knows if sometime you're back in the area when the fair's going on, you can come back and see it in person and take it all in. Well, let's talk some volleyball. Let's get a general update on how things are going. Obviously, as your players mentioned, Coach, you're in some fall workouts here. Classes are set to begin soon. Most of them will be, I would assume, distance learning. So what is now kind of the plan here short term to make sure, you know, one, the players are developing like you want as athletes, but 2, make sure that they're healthy and safe, which you always want to do, but there's an added, you know, emphasis, I would think, on that at this particular time and point in time, I should say.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we started, you know, preseason training, and I think that was around maybe August 6th or 7th they reported, and we got going. And then around the 11th, I believe, they postponed, or maybe it was the 12th, they postponed. But we were still able to stay in this space. And so there was a little bit of carpe diem. You know, we knew we had this opportunity to lay a nice foundation in terms of some teaching and learning that we didn't get to get in place in the spring because, you know, we lost half of our all of our 20 hours in the spring, but we lost half our spring semester. So, so that's the short term. You know, we've been in for a couple of weeks. We're going to finish this week strong, and then everybody's going to have a little breather before school starts. And then once school starts, we'll get back into the bubble and see what that looks like.
Yeah, and hoping to meet several times a week, or what is the NCAA and the conference allowing you to do now?
Yeah, we're just waiting and seeing at this point. We've heard various stories about the number of hours, but when compliance tells us, then we'll believe them. But the team's done a phenomenal job, and also, you know, our administration, our you know, our facilities people, the whole works. You know, just relative, and our medical people on top of that. But just you know, the links, the checks and balances that are in place to maintain our safety for all of us, student athlete, and for the staff, and to keep it all clean and sanitized and all that good stuff. It's just been incredible. And of course, the team has done a phenomenal job too. They've really owned their responsibility in all this to try to, you know, protect our little crew. And yeah, it's been great. So we feel really fortunate to have gotten this work in, and then, you know, we'll see what happens from there.
Lots of Zoom meetings, I know, from the springtime through the summer, just to kind of stay in touch. I mean, there's a time there where nobody could see anybody in person, so all it was like what we're doing now, a computer screen. How much of a energizer, Coach, has it been to have your athletes back on campus, seeing them in person? I mean, obviously playing it safe, but having them there.
Yeah, for me personally, it's been phenomenal. You know, one of the things about coaching is you actually like the coaching. And if that's all you had to do, these would be great jobs. But what you got to do is you got to deal with this meeting and that meeting and this new legislation and, you know, this kid who's not going to class. But not that we have those issues, but, you know, there's just stuff that you got to get going. And when you're in the midst of a pandemic trying to coach, the one good thing you've got going is being in the gym, and that's the one thing you don't have. So it's a lot of Zooms and a lot of meetings and a lot of talking. but not much doing. So it's great to be back in there getting after it, and especially with this group because of their capacity for work, and two, their capacity for learning is really phenomenal, and they're awfully talented to go with that. So it's just been wonderful to get back in there and get some work done. And I think, even though it's hard, learning and making change, I think for them not having volleyball and now all of a sudden maybe having a little more than they had before has been okay too.
Mm-hmm. But they'll offer a little perspective for sure. Stephanie, let's move to you now, and we'll get some thoughts on what your summer was like. Obviously, no one's kind of gone through what the country has gone through. As the semester was cut short, your distance learning, what did you do to try to better your game, stay in shape, get workouts in the middle of times where you basically everyone was instructed to kind of stay home?
Yeah. So I was at home, and, I just tried to make sure that my mental was right, like making sure I wasn't overwhelmed and like all that kind of thing, and taking care of that. And when it comes to volleyball, like I have a little sister, so trying to do things with her, trying to help her, trying to get myself better, watching film from, last season, watching from practices we had before everything started, that kind of thing. And I think just like trying to visualize and all that kind of stuff, just trying to do as much as I can to make sure that when we came back for this bit of time that we have, that I was as ready as I could be.
How much fun was it to see everybody in person again?
Yeah, it was great. It's kind of weird because for the longest time we'd seen each other through Zoom, like you were saying. So it's just like, oh, you guys are actually people, and like we can actually see each other and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, not TV characters, so to speak, right? Actual. Yeah. Take me through now as you're getting ready for the fall. Obviously, there is some limbo here in relation to what might and might not happen in the spring. How, as a team and as an individual, do you try to stay motivated, knowing that you want to work out, you want to get better, but there's not a match Wednesday night, there's not a match Friday night, there's not a match Saturday night, which is part of the fun of the whole thing, right?
Right. I just think, me personally, I'm just thinking about how I wasn't doing this a couple months ago for the longest time, and I was just wishing that I could be. So I just know that this is a great opportunity, and I don't know, it's exciting to play volleyball. So I think, it sucks we don't have a season right now, but it's like we're still in the gym and we can still get better, and that's just my perspective, I guess.
Yeah, and Regan, how about you? Is that a similar thought that, you were out of the gym and not around your teammates for a while, and even if there aren't competitions in the short term, that the positive is you have volleyball back in some degree now in person?
Yeah, it's been awesome, and we've been doing a great job as a team of keeping our competitiveness against each other across the net, but still being good teammates and making sure that we're all getting better.
What was your summer like? What kind of things did you do to continue to grow your game, so to speak?
Yeah, I had an interesting summer. I worked at Three Rivers, as I always do, so I was really busy with that. But we had workouts with fly. I went on a lot of runs with my dog, who keeps coming in and out, so if you hear noise, that's him. And I just did a lot of different types of activities that I normally haven't done, such as yoga, Pilates, just other activities that kept me active without thinking too much about what I was doing, and trying to stay mentally healthy through that.
Well, take me back to last fall, and obviously you guys had a great year, Regan, and you get to the NCAA tournament. Obviously, the goal is every year when you're a program the level that Minnesota's at is to get to the Final Four, which has been done, and now you're hoping to get there. And I want to specifically ask you about that Creighton match, because it was looking not great there for a moment, right? It was like, man, this thing could end in a snap of a finger here. One, that's got to be a great memory to be at home and come back and do that, and then knowing where it led you guys to. But what was that moment in time like, knowing? How was it a huddle? Was it Coach McCutcheon in a speech? Where did the flip switch there to make that mad dash at the end to get out of there with the win?
So Lexi Hart kind of just looked at us, and it was the look of, if we don't win this, we're done. And that's their senior year. So I think we all really rallied around the idea of playing for each other and with each other, and having a lot of grit and being all in all in the game and just turning it around.
Yeah, Stephanie, what do you remember about that match and that moment in particular to push through and not that it was easy sailing after that, but it was almost like you got over that point and it was let's cruise into the Final Four.
Yeah, I think Reagan like just said what it was, like we all wanted to just like do it for each other and like do everything that we could to give us the chance to get as far as we can. So it was really just about point by point and, making sure you're doing your job and, coming together as a team and like really finding a way to win. And it was kind of cool to see us do that.
And it was fun to watch too, in the sense that I thought, and I don't think it's changed, other than it just seemed that this year or this past year, last fall, a year ago now, not quite a year ago, that there was a lot of momentum swings, not just in Gopher matches, but in matches in general. In watching the national scope of things, that it looked like a team was rolling, and this is going to be easy for whatever team it is, and then the other team answers with a run, and it was a lot of great volleyball. And Coach, maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems my anecdotal experience of watching and being around seems maybe there's just better players all around, good teams all around. It's hard to win matches against high quality. I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong in my premise, but what are your thoughts on that? I just thought there were a lot of great matches back and forth.
Yeah, there's more depth now than there's been, and it's going to continue to get deeper. The level of talent across the board continues to get higher and higher, and so yeah, there's a lot of good matches. The margins get thinner and thinner every year, but it was, it's great to talk about the Final Four and getting there in the Creighton match. As they said, there was a lot of conviction in some of those moments, but it was just such an incredible year before we even got there. With some injuries and some other things that were going on, and we're playing a 6-2 for some of it. We're playing a 5-1 with a blocking sub for some of it. We've got Regan sitting in a couple of rotations. We've got a kid playing libero that's never played libero before. We were throwing the kitchen sink at this thing most weekends, and these athletes just did an incredible job of just accepting what their role was today and going with it. And playing the thing, we talk about playing a point to point, but just really trying to control the things they could and executing to the best of their ability. And I think that season kind of helped them to manage, at least emotionally, that Creighton match, because I don't think anyone would say that was our best match in terms of our execution. Although I think, from about halfway through the fourth, the first set we were pretty good, and then all of a sudden the wheels started falling off. But I think it's more that they played really well and we were just okay. But for them to turn it around was a really great moment that seemed to be evolving over the course of this really atypical season, where they had to learn a lot of lessons along the way about what it was to figure out a way to win. And that's kind of what happened in Creighton, and then again against Florida, and a real nice match against Louisville as well.
Yeah, and you do all of that, Coach, where you're switching strategies and switching personnel and asking star players to take a different role and all kinds of stuff, all while having success in the toughest league in the country. I mean, you just kept winning and people kept answering the bell. That had to be pretty gratifying as a coach to see everyone kind of pull in the same direction, even if it meant in some cases a player's role change from one to another.
Yeah, looking back, extremely gratifying. During it, quite harrowing.
No doubt. Hey, it looks like we have a new visitor, Regan. Why don't you introduce the puppy there? Although look exactly like a puppy.
This is Earl. He's been in and out of the video the whole time. He doesn't want to be away from mom for that long, so I guess he's in the interview now.
So I'm assuming, Coach and Stephanie, you've seen Earl before in your team meetings and such then? So this is not anything new for you two to see the dog jump in?
We got some history with Earl. Yep, all good.
So how did you decide on Earl, and how long has he been a part of your life, Regan? Where did you find him?
I found him from a breeder. He's a mini Australian Shepherd, and he's listening. Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about you.
He turned a year August 18th, so since middle of season last year.
Wow, is he fully grown now? That's as big as he'll get?
Yeah, he's about 20 pounds.
Yeah, so that's great. It's great to have company, right?
Yes, even when it's not welcome.
No, it's great to see. We're all dog lovers, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, let's look ahead to the spring, Coach. We have done a lot of these state fair interviews. I talked with, I saw Bob Motzko say he thinks hockey will play. John Anderson, we just finished with him. He says, hey, I think baseball is going to happen. So there is some optimism. And I guess what else do we have to hold on to but optimism? Are you optimistic that there can be a spring volleyball season here in the college ranks?
Yes. Yeah, I feel quite confident that we'll get a season in some way, shape, or form. And if there's a silver lining in all of this, for this group in particular, with obviously Regan and Stephanie, both incredibly accomplished and veteran players now on this team, but we also have some good young pups coming in, and so having a few months to get everyone on the same page and kind of get trained up will be okay. I think that'll play to our advantage.
Yeah, you mentioned you have, I think many of the publications have you ranked as the top recruiting class in the incoming here. Are all of those students, have they arrived now on campus and starting to integrate into the program as well?
Yeah, everyone's here. Yeah.
And what have you seen so far? You like what the group you got that you brought in, and how are they melding in with the veterans?
Well, you can ask these two as well, but I think it's a really it's a great group. Honestly, some of the things we're doing in the gym, I don't think we've ever done before. There's a lot of good arms. We can set the ball in rhythm, and it's tough to kill a ball because the block and defense is the real deal. So it's a very competitive gym, as Regan spoke to earlier, but it's also really high quality at this point.
Yeah, Stephanie, first of all, you don't have any pets that you want to bring into the lens, do you? Pet free?
No.
No. Secondly, what is your impression? Let's say that for the sake of our discussion, there is a spring season with the young players and with the veterans that are back. How good can this team be? And have you guys set goals yet that you're willing to make public, or are you keeping those to yourself?
Yeah, I think right now they're kind of just to us and kind of just what we want to work on right now. But I think, like he was saying, like, it is really hard to kill a ball in this gym, and everyone is playing at a really high level. And I just know that, like, right now we're still learning and everything like that. So I just know that we can be even better come time to compete. So, yeah.
And depth with as many new players and as many veterans. I mean, it's competition raises the level of everybody, right? I would think each day.
Yeah, for sure. When someone's making a change on their blocking or, getting their feet in line, that makes you have to work harder in what you're doing, So I think, as everyone's working to get better, you kind of just automatically get better by them doing the same thing, you know what I mean? And it just keeps elevating.
Well, the clock on the wall tells me that it's just about we've run out of our time. We could talk forever on Gopher Volleyball. So much to talk about. Maybe we can reconnect as the school year goes on, and we'll have we're doing Gopher Talks, and Justin's doing podcast, and certainly we'll keep getting the word out. But it's been fun to catch up. Let's hope we can get together on campus, and let's really keep our fingers crossed. We'll see all of you on the court come this spring.
Cheers, Mike. Thanks for that.
All right, thanks. That's Gopher Volleyball. It's our State Fair virtual meeting.